All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? This is Anthony from Smoking and Joking. I'm one of the co-hosts here. To my immediate right, which is going to be, we got Mr. Reed. He is currently going through what is it, Warden University, correct? Warden University
Wow,
for
Walden.
his
Yep.
Walden. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my apologies. Walden
Nah, you
University
good, brother.
to
You
get
good.
his doctorate's degree in sociology, and then correction. He is to my actually to my right on no, to my left on the screen, and then to my right. I don't know why I'm dyslexic today, but to my left on the screen, we
It
have a retired
happens.
sergeant major, Damian Cohen, who spent a lot of time in the Marine Corps. Yeah, let's give him a big hand.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for all your
Two
service, my
four.
brother.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
yeah.
a 2-4 alumni. Um,
Hoorah.
so we got our sponsors for today is Artius, and then Vets 365, and then my company, AMCJ Fitness. And then we also have Dare Essentials, and we're missing Ralphine this evening, as we can see.
Hey,
She's one of the co-hosts as well, and she's a great
definitely.
person to have on the show. She helps
Definitely.
us out a whole bunch. She's
Yep.
also one of the individuals to help sponsor the show with her business,
Yep.
Dare Essentials, located in Sacramento, California.
Yep.
So without any further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and let give this to Reed. And hey, this is the 25th
Hey,
episode of Smoking and Joking, ladies
hey,
and gentlemen. Go ahead, Reed.
hey. So thank you so much, Anthony, for that great introduction. But we have a special guest, Damian Cone. I know him when he was a sergeant, and I was scared. I was terrified of this man. But I'm so happy to have him on the show today. So a big shout out to him for
Oh
even,
man.
definitely being here. But what we're gonna get into is we're gonna let him. I'm gonna let him take the floor and let you guys, y'all can ask questions in the comments. We're gonna be asking him the questions in the also. So everything that's being said on here, hey, this is smoking and joking. We're gonna have fun. So I'm turning it over to Damien right now.
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Nope,
You know, I
no
it's
problem.
my first podcast, so if I punt anything, be free to let me know. Yeah,
Man, you can't mess anything up. We just out here just chilling. You can't
Yeah,
yeah,
mess. It's
yeah,
non-scripted, really, kind of. So
yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, yeah.
tell
So
us
I did.
anything about yourself.
I I'm married. We were on the phone call yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been married to the same woman for 25 years. One and done marriage. She made it through the Marine Corps, through the whole my
Yeah.
whole career. We have two kids. They are 25 and 18. Two great boys
Mm-hmm.
that have grown up in the Marine Corps, survived all the PCS moves and all the different schools, and they're off doing their own thing. Well, one's
It's
off doing his own thing, and the other one's about to be. So we live up here north of Seattle. I got a job in human resources after I retired from the Marine Corps in 2020, and it's been life is good. I got nothing to complain about. It was a good career. It was a good run. I had ups and downs. I had a lot of good times. The best people I've ever met in my life were in uniform, and that
hell
holds
yeah.
true. And yeah,
Yeah.
man, 2-4 was a good time. I was there from
Hey,
2000,
one of the best.
2001. Yeah, man. Uh, two, 2001 to 2005. I was in 2-4.
Man,
So
hell yeah.
I was in third platoon for the first deployment, Echo Company, and then I was in second platoon for the deployment to Iraq. Uh, yeah, it was good. And Sergeant Major Booker on that Iraq deployment. He's one of a kind, man. You don't see a lot of sergeant majors like that
Hell no.
running
They don't
around.
make them like Sergeant Major Booker.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I know he was not enthused about interviewing for Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, which I think he deferred it to, what was it, Sergeant Major Barrett, right? At the
Yep.
time,
Yeah.
he
Hmm.
deferred it to Sergeant Major Barrett. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of a classy move, to be honest with you. But it
Hell
also kind
yeah.
of put him in a position that he could, do something he wanted to a little bit longer too, from what I understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah. That was
yeah.
my understanding of it too, man. He was the regimental sergeant major of 6th Marine Regiment when I went to 1-9 when I was a company gunny. I swung by, stopped by and talked to him a couple times when he was the regimental sergeant major. But yeah, man, I tried to go where that guy was. You know, when I was a battalion sergeant major in 3-1, you know, there's a lot of things Sergeant Major Booker did. I tried to remember, and, you know, tried to emulate that. So, you know, he had a big impact on my career. He's a good man, fantastic Marine warfighter. You know, Marine, got down there with the Lance Corporals. Even as a battalion regimental sergeant major, that guy is like, you know, he knew where to be, the barracks. That's where you learn everything. You know, the barracks and the smoke pit.
Good shit. Good shit.
Yeah.
So David, we're gonna get right into it about those about some of these questions. So, could you tell the audience about what made you get into HR, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So, you know, when I was looking at retiring, I was trying to figure out, you know, what does a former infantry guy who spent, you know, the majority of the career either, you know, 2 tours at MCRD San Diego, and then, you know, infantry battalions, SOI as an instructor, you know, like what does that guy do post Marine Corps? I can shoot stuff, I can blow stuff up, but you know, I was also the last, you know, 7, 8, well, I guess almost 9 years of my career as an 8999, and you know, doing, you know, personnel management, personnel assignments, you know, dealing with discipline issues, advising, you know, more senior folks on how to handle their personnel issues. So, you know, that's what I realized, you know, that a lot of that correlates into human resources, right? So, you know, policy enforcement, all that sort of thing. So you know, I was finishing my degree. I got my degree all thanks to the Marine Corps and the tuition assistance program. So 100% paid by that. Got my bachelor's with in business administration with a focus in HR. I used the Onward to Opportunity program as I was getting ready to retire. They paid for my, you know, study and my study materials and the test for the professional and human resources certification. And so yeah, I just took off with that and ran with it because to me it just seemed to make the most sense. And it's done pretty well. My last billet in the Marine Corps was a recruiting station sergeant major, so I had all that recruiting experience, or dealing with recruiters because I didn't do the actual recruiting. I don't want anybody to think that I recruited because I didn't. But you know, having that experience and you know that's actually a good billet to help transition out because there's a lot of I deal with a lot of civilians and educators and things like that on recruiting duty. So yeah, all that just kind of paved the path for me to get into HR. I struggled with it for a while. Last couple of years I was in trying to figure out what to do, but HR seemed to make the most sense, and it's done well for me so far. 4 years.
Hey, that's good shit. That's definitely good shit.
So let me ask a question real fast. How did your leadership training in the Marine Corps influence your approach to managing an HR team?
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that we learn in the Marine Corps that transition well into any billet. You know, I don't lead or manage an HR team. You know, I'm in an HR team of 3. I have a director, and then I'm a generalist, and I have a counterpart that's a generalist. So I'm not really in charge. I don't lead anybody, you know, on paper as far as like a hierarchy or anything like that. But you know, I do consider myself a leader in the organization through, you know, my actions, the guidance and recommendations that I give supervisors and managers in the organization on how they handle their personnel issues day to day. You know, the leadership traits and principles that we learned in the Marine Corps from boot camp all the way through every leadership course that you go through, you know, corporal's course, sergeant's course, staff academy, all of those, you know, those have all served me very well and have really helped out in dealing with some of the personnel issues that we deal with in the civilian ones. You know, you know, JJ did tie buckle. You know, I don't forget it. I still have it. You know, I still use it. You know, and I don't know. It's just all of those have just served me really well through my civilian transition into civilian life.
Gotcha.
Let me ask you a question real fast, and it goes to one of your previous comments. You said that you You had ups and downs. Tell us one of your best like ups that you
Mm.
had whenever you were active duty.
You know, one of the best ups that I had, it's hard to pick because there's so many of them. I had,
Tell us a
you
couple
know,
of them, man. Where's you got time?
you know,
Yeah.
my time as a drill instructor were both some of the best and some of the worst. I think the first 2 cycles as a drill instructor, and anybody that's ever worn a campaign cover can probably attest to it. They're brutal, they're hard, they beat you down a little bit, right? So, but you know, that's some of the best Marines, MOS, regardless of MOS. Some of the best
Mm.
Marines that I've ever worked with were on the
Man,
depot, right?
man.
And you know, I worked with some phenomenal Marines off the depot as well. But you know, I'm still friends with some of the guys that I was drill instructors with. Um,
Mm.
just so happens that some of my closest friends also happen to be O369s, but they're you know, but
Oh
yeah, the
three.
teams I had on the teams I had on the depot were great. My last company commander on the depot uh, actually checked into 1-9 and became my company commander like 4 months after I got to 1-9.
Damn,
So
that's full circle.
Lucky
so he
you.
was, yeah, man. I mean, it was fantastic because he was my company commander on the depot for my last cycle. Then he was my company commander for my company gunny deployment with 1-9. And then I got promoted to first sergeant, stayed in the same company, and he
Damn.
stayed in the same company. So we went to Afghanistan together. So, you know, me and that company commander were together for like 5 years.
Damn, that's
And
amazing.
that almost never happens. And it's a good thing we like each other because it was a good run. And I still talk to him. I was just texting him the other day, you know. And that team in Afghanistan, you know, me, the company gunny, retired Master Sergeant DJ Mansfield, you know, our old XO Ryan Maher, and the old CO, soon to be retired Lieutenant Colonel Treviso. You know, we had a fantastic team. That was one of the best teams I've ever been a part of. And we have a text chain. We text each other all the time. It's funny
That's
because
good
if you
shit.
go to bed too early on a Friday, you'll wake up on Saturday with like 57 text messages.
But that's
They
that
were tying one
brotherhood.
off
That's
that
good.
night. They were tying it off.
Yep. Yeah. So
That's
I mean,
good.
it's good, man. And you know that those relationships with that team. When I was in Camp Pendleton, uh, I think I was still a first sergeant, and DJ had just retired as a master sergeant. And that dude would be like, because he does dive shops in Southern California now. So he'd be like, "Hey man, we're gonna do a dive in San Diego. Can I crash on your couch?" I'm like, sure. When are you gonna be there? He's like, I'm at your front door. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, man. Like, come on in. You know,
Man.
but that's the kind of relationship that we have. You know, that's that brotherhood that doesn't leave. You know, and I think that's the highest point is having teams like that. That's probably the best team I was on. The second best team was when I was a battalion sergeant major at 3-1, the battalion commander, the XO, the gunner, the ops chief.
Man.
I mean, all of us. It was a really tight command group. We had a really good unit. We had Marines that stayed out of trouble. You know,
Hey.
when I was a battalion sergeant major, we're in Japan, mainland Japan. We took the whole battalion to Fuji, and we were there around Christmas time. And the battalion commander and I had talked to the whole battalion and like, hey, look, if you behave yourself, we'll let you go on leave in Japan.
Oh
Like, go to Tokyo for New Year's. Like,
man.
you have to stay out of trouble. If you stay out of trouble, we'll let you do it. They stayed out of trouble, so we stayed true to our word. We let them do it, and man, the phone calls I was getting, brother, like the regimental sergeant major from Camp Pendleton was like emailing me. The regimental sergeant major in 4th Marines in Okinawa was like, "You realize if this goes bad, you and your boss are getting fired." They're like, "Yeah, that's right.
Damn.
It's not going to go bad. Don't worry about it." So we put a whole lot of trust in a whole infantry battalion of Marines, and they killed it, man. No issues.
Man, that's probably the
So,
best story I ever heard about the infantry, because usually that would have went left quick. Like that's good
but you
shit.
know, but we stayed true to it. We didn't mess around, man. Like I told the Marines, I was like, "Hey, look, If your idea of a good time on a Saturday night is see how much Jack Daniels you can drink, do that in the barracks because I can
Yep.
control what happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that out in
Great.
town, there's nothing I can do for you. You're
Yep.
screwed, man.
Yep.
And if you do it out in town, it'll be the last time you leave the gate for the rest of the deployments. Like you ain't
Yep.
going anywhere. And
Yep.
so they believed it, and it worked out, man. It was awesome. It was great to have the Marines. I mean, shit, man. When the Marines are in Tokyo getting hammered, me and the battalion commander went to Nagano and went skiing. Like I mean, it was probably one of the most fun deployments I've been on. And it was all because we trusted the Marines to behave themselves, and guess what? They acted like adults.
Hey,
And they did it.
That's good shit. These are the stories that need to be told because you tell that story, it's always something bad. You see it all the time, like, oh, somebody got to fight out in town or some crazy shit. But
and you know
that's
what?
good
Some of that shit probably happened, but the Marines were really good at taking care of each other and dragging each other back to the barracks, and nobody ever found out. And I'm good with that too.
Yeah, whatever works. I mean, yeah, we don't hear enough positive stories, especially whenever we're talking Victor units on deployments like that and getting that amount of leeway. Usually, you give enough rope to somebody, they're gonna hang themselves.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In that regard, you know what I'm saying. So, I mean, that was one heck of a risk for you to take. Now, let me ask you this real fast. What How did you build that kind of trust in them? Was it because you felt like your staff NCOs were able to cultivate that leadership and have that presence to ensure that they're going to be able to and listen to their to guidance? Is that what you believe?
I think it was a combination of that definitely all the staff NCOs were on board.
Hmm.
It was helpful that there were some staff NCOs in the battalion that I had worked with before, so we knew each other well, and they knew that, like, if I tell you something, I mean it, good or bad, take it however you want. But if I tell you something, I mean it, and I'm going to follow through on it. And so they were able to take that message, like, hey, man, if the sergeant major's up there saying this is what's going to happen, then believe him, that's what's going to happen. And so that messaging was there, but it was also a kind of at least in my career, it was pretty unique. The relationships and the understanding and of where we wanted the unit to go, the messaging from me and the battalion commander was the same messaging that came from the OPSO and the master gunny and came from the XO, and it trickled down to the company leadership. All the company commanders were on board, all the first sergeants were on board, all the company gunnies were on the same page. So it was that messaging that went from the top down, and everybody, believed it and they believed in it. So they preached it and they educated the Marines on it. And I think that coupled with the fact that, we really, you hear all the time, lead by example,
Definitely.
be where the Marines are. And there are some senior enlisted and senior officers that are better at it than others. But me and the colonel were everywhere all the time. And we were on ranges, we were on hikes. We just like show up on the side of a mountain in Bridgeport and with next to some random squad, like we would go all over the place, and the Marines saw us out there with them. And when you're tired, but you got a smile on your face and you're just as dirty as the Lance Corporal standing next to you, then they start to believe you when you tell them that you're gonna treat them like adults as long as they act like it. And I think there was a lot of key pieces that went to that, but I think the staff, the leadership from the staff NCOs and the company grade officers was key because everybody was on the same page.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this is one of the first times I've ever heard of a Victor unit doing what you were able to accomplish without incident. Yeah, so like you said, individuals are going to do what individuals are going to do, and they're going to hide it whenever whenever it needs to be hidden from higher echelons, of course. But let me go ahead. I got to read some of these. We got some comments down here real fast, Damien. I got to go and take care of this. Lance says, "Hey, gents." I don't know if you knew Lance McElhaney. He was 2-4 also, right?
Yeah, McElhaney was 2-4.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Yeah, and then Lance says that the audio seems good today, so I think we should blame the ladies for that issue whenever it happened.
He's talking about the last show, Malcolm.
We ain't pointing fingers, brother. We ain't pointing fingers right now. And then Theo says it's biblical to blame the women. Then Jamie says to Lance, "So you're calling Tor a lady?" Jamie's a regular on the show as well. She likes
Mm,
to she puts in some great comments. Lance goes back and saying, "I'm just saying every time it comes up, the women are on. It's not always there. It seems to be going wrong, but they are on." Thanks, Lance, for the evaluation. We appreciate that. Theo says that's not like Oki and '03, where everybody and their mama got in trouble when they got off the ship.
Oh,
That's
for
kind of what
real.
I was
Yeah.
referencing. Like I just remember these very colorful stories of victory units immediately getting off the 30 worst and just going to town and losing their absolute minds. So that's the reason why I'm just like, hold on, you got a victory unit to do what and go where and for how long? And there was no incident.
Yep.
yeah,
Uh, well, that is sheer amazement to me. So yeah, I get it. And then
yeah.
Theo replied to Lance. He says, "I blame Bush Senior." Got to blame somebody, right?
Man,
Yeah.
gotta blame somebody.
And then Lance is replying, or I mean, yeah, Lance replying says, "Jamie, hi. Uh, only on the days when he has a pretty mouth." I don't know what that was in reference to, but somebody has a
That's a
pretty mouth.
wild ass.
Um,
Man, these
Tio
guys,
says at Lance, "You sure you're not from the West from West Virginia?" Oh, here we
man.
go. Here we go. Here we go. And then Lance says, but Ralphine says decent and never shows any bush. Okay, there we
Oh
go.
man. Yeah.
Like I said, we in the smoke pit and we smoking.
Okay. Oh,
Hell
yes. There we
yeah.
go.
There we go. That says it right there. Uh, Oh yeah, Theo says, "Hey, like, subscribe, and share." Let me go ahead and take a moment, real fast, real fast.
Mm,
Thanks, three vets 365. We really appreciate it. Also, thanks to Artias, and then to AMCJ Fitness and Ralphine, also with her business, Dara Centris as well. Thank you very, very much.
gotcha.
Like, subscribe, and share. And then
Gotcha.
Theo says, share with your networks. Also, we're on Instagram and YouTube live right this
Yep.
very moment. You can go to Instagram at Smoking and Joking and YouTube at Smoking and Joking. Lance
Yeah.
then says Theo never traveled through there, like West Virginia, I'm assuming. If you haven't been to West Virginia, I got to interdict on this. So West Virginia is a beautiful state, and if you're an outdoorsman and you like mountains, you like rivers, you like lakes, and like the beauty and scenery of just forestry, I'm gonna be honest with you. West Virginia and anywhere in the Appalachian Mountains, it's gorgeous. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful. Let's see. Then we got Theo again. Reed would have stayed out of trouble for a promise of BBWs.
Hell yeah. I love
We
the
know
thick
you would have, Reed.
ladies.
We know you would have. We know it. And then Jamie replied, Lance, hi, Lance. Okay. So we got those out of the way.
Yeah.
Um, so my next question, I guess, would be this right here. I don't really like to talk about low points, but what would be one of the points where you could say you could have gone without it in your career?
Uh, I think there was a part of my last tour on recruiting duty as a recruiting station
Mm,
sergeant major. That is, it's a rough tour. It's a rough duty, and I don't care if you're the most junior canvassing recruiter or if you're an OPSO or an ops chief or the RS sergeant major, RSCO. That duty is hard, and it's hard for a lot of reasons that unless you've done it, just is tough to explain, or
mm,
maybe not tough to explain, but maybe hard to understand unless you've walked in those coraframs on the streets of any town USA trying to recruit, and especially when you deal with some cities or
mm,
towns or school districts that are not very receptive to military service, like Seattle School
mm.
District. um, it becomes even harder for the Marines, and it's really hard to keep their morale up and keep them motivated to do a job that 70% of them didn't want to do in the first place, right? They didn't volunteer for recruiting duty. The Marine Corps told them to go recruit. There's a large, I don't know what the number is, but there's a large number of folks in Marine Corps Recruiting Command total that didn't want to be there, but somebody's got to do that job. And, I've heard stories of, RSCOs and XOs and sergeant majors and ops, master gunnies, the recruiting instructors, of getting relieved for missing mission. But I never heard of one getting fired for not missing mission if it didn't have to do with personal conduct. But that happened to my CO. My CO, I won't name any names, but my CO was relieved because the district CO, was concerned that he might miss mission. He never missed missions, but he was concerned that he might miss mission and was concerned about some other things. None of it was personal conduct. He's a good Marine. He's a good Marine officer. He was doing his best for the Marines on a challenging duty, and he got relieved. And the master gunny got relieved. And I was standing at the position of attention on a video conference call with a full bird colonel saying, if this doesn't turn around, you're next. And that was the only time in my career where my career had been threatened that I didn't deserve it. So that was probably what I would say a period of my career I could do without.
Yeah, I would say
I can imagine
that's
that.
pretty tough. Yeah. That sounds pretty tough, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Kind of holding that responsibility. Now, would you consider yourself in the role that you had? I guess what would we call it? Like the mortar with the brick, because of your duty, and then also the Marines under your charge, that are the recruiters and whatnot. Like how challenging was it to get out there to all the RSs and able to, emphasize, hey, we believe in you, keep pressing hard and whatnot. Like, I'm assuming that your role would be more of a motivational role in that regard. Am I right, or am I off track?
Well, no, you're on track. That's part of the role, right? But the
Mhm.
other part of the role of a recruiting station sergeant major is you're actually a program manager. And the recruiting station sergeant major is in charge of the pool program. So when I go to a recruiting substation, and meet with the recruiters, it's not all, handshakes and high fives and how you doing, stay motivated, let's hit the streets, what can I do for you? There is some of that, but there's also like, hey, we got to go through your 20, 30, 60, depending on the size of the substation, go through all your poolees, who's not going to graduate high school, who's failing an IST, and the sergeant for that program. So there's aspects that are the sergeant majors.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
That's a,
Yeah. So I would
I
have to
didn't.
go through
I didn't know either.
I'd do a whole pool scrub. I'd go out there and run ISTs, initial strength tests, the 1.5 mile run and pull ups, and it was crunches, now it's planks, and I'd do that with all their poolees, and then talk to them about kids that aren't showing up to pool functions, and I would kick kids out of the pool program. I kicked a kid out of the pool program in one of the substations. I kicked him out of the program in front of all the rest of the recruits or the poolees, because the kid hadn't passed an IST and he'd been in the delayed entry program for like 9 months. And I went
Mhm.
out there and I was talking to him before an IST, and I was like, "Hey man, are you gonna pass?" He's like, "Yes sir, I'm gonna pass." I was like, "All right, you better. Like you pass today, or that's it." And he went out there and he just half-assed the run and failed the shit out of it. So I looked at him. I got all the poolies in the office. This is like 45, 50 kids, and they're all, like 17 to 20 years old, right? And I was like, "Hey, man, you're done." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Give me my T-shirt back and get the fuck out of my office." And I took his poolee T-shirt away from him and kicked him out of the recruiting substation.
What was the reactions that you received on that one?
The poolies were shocked. The staff NCOIC was like, "Sergeant Major, I was trying to ship that kid in 3 months." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you're not now. He's gone. So now you have to replace him." But he's had 9 months to pass an IST and he hasn't. So bye. Like, I'm done with that kid. It'd be one thing if he just struggled, but he wasn't even trying, right? Like, he was out walking on the run and, like, oh, it's hard. Like, yeah, Navy's down the hall, buddy. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that because one, you don't want to just ship kids for the sake of shipping, right? You want them to graduate. You want them to be prepared and graduate boot camp, right? So that is, that's part of the responsibility of the recruiting station sergeant major is make sure those kids are ready by the time they hit the yellow footprints. And I had 400, in the summer months, right before they started shipping in June, July, we'd have 450 kids in the delayed entry program between Washington, Northern Idaho, and Montana. So I'm tracking, like damn near a battalion's worth of high school kids to see if they're ready to go to boot camp.
Wow. That's quite challenging, especially in so many like locations as well. That's really, really challenging. I don't know how you would do something like that. Now, I got a quick question just because I'm familiar with recruiting and stuff. I think that there's like if you don't, all right, so I got out November 2013, which was over a decade ago. So they used to have a program where if recruiters didn't make mission for a month or 2 months, they would put them on like a remedial type of program. Do they still do that with the recruiting population?
They do, yeah. So you have the recruiting instructor, usually a master gunny career recruiter in a recruiting station. They run that program. They track all the numbers. They track who's doing good, who's not, and they have additional training and remediation for people that are not making numbers, people that aren't recruiting. If you roll a donut, you get a 0 for contracts in 1 month. You're on the bubble. You get it 2 months in a row. You're getting additional training. You do it 3 months in a row. There's other conversations, and you get to go stand in front of the CEO and explain why you're not making mission and what you're not doing, and all those things. So yeah, the recruiting instructors manage that, the career recruiters, and they do have remedial training for all that stuff, for sure.
Dang, that's quite challenging. That's for sure. That's really, really challenging. What's up, Reed?
Reed, you're muted, man.
Oh yeah, you're muted, Reed.
Oh,
There he
sorry.
is.
All right, sorry guys. So we have Brian Britton that's coming on for a moment to discuss the poker run for Brian. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm a little choppy. I don't know if it's on my side. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Did everybody hear him?
Yeah, I hear him. I got him
Okay.
loud and clear. How's it going, Brian? You doing good today, brother?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. My name is Anthony. I'm one of the co-hosts. Reed's the other, and then we have one of our guests today, Damian Cohen. So,
2-4.
Yeah, 2424. So, tell us what you got going on, brother.
Right on, man. So I appreciate you guys having me on again. I was here a couple of weeks ago. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm shamelessly plugging a fundraiser that we're doing for the Warrior Reunion Foundation. If anybody didn't hear on the last time I was on the podcast, the Warrior Reunion Foundation's a veteran nonprofit that basically helps fund and pay for different military small units and stuff like that deploy together, that been to combat together, chewed some nasty dirt and all that stuff, and they do incredible things for these guys. So for just recently, and something that impacted all of us, is they actually were a part of the 2-4 Battle of Ramadi reunion planning for us this last April 6th through 8th. Those guys, I don't want to throw numbers out there just because I don't think it's appropriate, but they spent well into 6 digits covering cost of food for us, cost of beer for us. They actually paid for for every single Gold Star family from our battalion's deployment. They paid for all the Gold Stars, room, board, food, transpo, literally everything. These guys put so much time, effort, and energy into our reunion, and I want to show some appreciation. So I'm actually working with a guy named Juan Ortiz. He's a Marine vet as well. His company is called Trash Panda or Raccoon King Moto. You can look him up on Instagram. He's an amazing event coordinator. He's done a lot of good stuff. Well, I approached him to help me out with, trying to figure out a way to do a fundraiser. And, he rides, I ride, we got to talking. He's like, dude, why don't we do a friggin' poker run? That sounds awesome. So him being the freaking stud that he is, got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 15 different sponsors on board immediately. And we're going to be doing it's called the All Hands on Deck Poker Run here in San Diego. The event is the 24th of August, so it's coming up here in a couple weeks. It's $25 a rider, $15 extra for a backpack. Registration starts at 10 a.m. at the Cycle Gear in Chula Vista. 10:30 will be kickstands up, and they're going to give us the route. And it's a poker run, and it's for a good charity. So some of the sponsors include my company, Tip of the Spear Real Estate Team, Law Tigers, San Diego Harley Davidson, Cycle Gear, Moto Pockets, Only Motos, 619's Media's come in, Iron Eagle Supply. I mean, there's a ton of folks that are sponsoring us and trying to get the word out and stuff like that. So if you guys don't mind, I'll share the flyer with y'all so that you guys can put it out to the world. But yeah, Saturday, August 24th, if you're San Diego local, or even if you're not and you won't feel like getting away for a weekend, man, this should be a good thing and it should be a lot of fun. So and again, man, I'm just trying to raise some funds for these guys. They did some incredible work for us. So
they definitely did.
But yeah, really want to do what I can to, hopefully all of us can do what we can to pitch in and, get these guys some fun so they can do the same thing for some other dudes.
Yeah, it's a good shit,
Ryan,
man.
we appreciate that a lot.
Yeah,
man. I wasn't even really aware that you were coming on. I would have
we I would have
made a little bit more space and
it's good.
Some stuff.
We didn't.
This was off the cuff, I guess.
I got the commercial break. It's all good.
You did the commercial. Hey, man, we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Yeah, man. Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Take care. Thank you. We appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, brother.
So that was interesting. I had no idea that. Now was Brian with
Fox Company.
Damien also?
Fox Company.
Oh, he was a different company. Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't
Fox
for sure if y'all.
Yeah,
I'm 3'5". I was not 2'4", by the way, Damien. I'm 3'5". 3'5". Kilo company. Kilo.
Yeah. Were you there for the big? I don't remember if it was before Iraq or after, but the whole barracks emptying. I'm pretty sure it was 3'5", 2'4" brawl in the
It was
3'5",
2'4" brawl.
Everybody keeps talking about that, man.
I was at 1st Battalion, 7th Marines at the time with Gary Weiser. Yeah, he was my battalion sergeant major during that brawl.
Yeah,
so I was out there at the stumps just kicking.
I think that brawl is still a PME for OODs in 5th Marine Regiment. I could be wrong.
Well, let me tell you how popular that brawl was. They were talking about it whenever I was checking in 2000, and it was 2011 as the weapons platoon sergeant in Kilo Company. They still talked about that brawl because you know why? Because there was dudes that had stayed in 3-5 during that entire time and went to the Battle of Sangin. They did like 3 combat tours to Iraq, the Battle of Sangin, and they still stayed in that battalion. And that was the thing that they talked about, literally. So yeah, so that was a big thing. It was tremendous because that's all they bragged about. Now I don't know who won. I wasn't there. Plus I was a staff NCO. I wouldn't have participated. So.
I don't know who won either. I kind of came in after.
I don't know,
but they probably said they won. So.
It's. I think there's a lot of hype to it. I think there was a lot of really drunk pushing and shoving, but there wasn't that many fists thrown. You know what I mean?
Funny. A lot of big tails, a lot of big tails.
Oh yeah.
So Damon, I did have a question for you too. So
Yeah, brother.
when you so doing HR, have you? I'm pretty sure you have come across a lot of Marines. Does that kind of affect if you might hire somebody sometimes or anything like that? Or
Well, it doesn't affect whether or not I'll hire them, but it'll give them an
yeah.
edge for an interview. I'll tell you that. Like
Okay.
I'll take a little closer look at the resume and the application when I see,
Okay.
but for all veterans, though, not just Marines, but
Gotcha. Gotcha.
but if I got a stack of veterans, and the first three are Marines, they're probably the first three interviewed. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, I definitely understand the value of veterans coming into an
Yep.
organization and what they can
Mhm.
bring. So of course, it always depends on the position and their other experience and stuff. But
Roger.
yeah, we're always looking to. We have a bunch of veterans where I work. I work at a county 911 dispatch center. We have veterans
Okay.
that are dispatchers, and we have veterans in all kinds of different spots in the organization. I mean, the guy that runs the whole place is a Coast Guard veteran. Is our
So
executive
hey.
director. So yeah, so I mean, we definitely want to help veterans get jobs where we can, and yeah, for sure, we like to help them out.
Hell yeah, I love to hear that. Definitely.
Hey, I want to take a quick break real fast and just say, hey, thanks to Vets 365. We really appreciate y'all helping us out here.
Mhm.
And then to Artias once again. And then also, you can also check out Artias at yesrts.com. If you guys want to do anything, do any type of donations or whatnot, and then understand exactly what you'll be donating to, so on and so forth. But at this point, I think we're going to move into a segment that we call, let's see here. It is Two Truths and a Lie.
Oh
So
no!
the way we play this in military jargon is two truths and a lie. And
Two
whatever,
truths.
but we're going to say basically within like military parameters of, you, for instance, here's an example. Yeah, I went to boot camp in, I don't know, February of 1965, which we know was probably a lie, right? The only one, yeah.
Two
That would be
truths.
pretty much your lie, and then you tell two truths on top of it. So we're going to go ahead and kick this off. We're going to start over to my right with Reed. Two truths and a lie, brother. Two truths and a lie.
I have a son that plays for the 49ers. What else? I actually got I got shot in my hand in Iraq.
I thought it was your ass.
Oh no, I gotta say two.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, my bad.
Nah. I got shot in my hip in Iraq, and I have a son that plays for BYU football.
All right. Now, Damien, what would you do now is you guess which one is the lie out of those three.
I would guess that your son playing for the 49ers.
Hey, that's an easy lie.
I'm gonna have to. I
gotta make it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Drum roll.
Yeah.
The 49ers. Yeah. Now, Damien, we're gonna switch over to you. Two truths and a lie.
Two truths and a lie. Okay. Let's see. I have a Purple Heart. I retired from the Marine Corps in 2020, and I have a son that is a senior at Washington State University.
The truth. So the truth is, you do have a son at Washington State that's a senior. Damn. I don't know. The Purple Heart would throw me for a loop because that could have happened. So shit. Damn.
Yeah, y'all had a rough deployment in Ramadi.
Yeah. So it's two truths, right?
It's two truths and a lie.
So the Purple Heart and your son is senior at Washington State. That's what I'm gonna go with.
That's what you're gonna go with?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go with that one.
What about you, Anthony?
I'm gonna just say just because I already know which one is the lie. because I know which one is the lie here. The purple heart.
Yeah, I
However,
don't have a
though,
Purple Heart.
Damn, I would have thought the
I am.
purple.
But listen, I am going to say this though. Y'all went through a hell of a deployment.
Hell yeah, I would have thought everybody had one by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody knows about y'all's deployment in Ramadi.
Yeah.
I mean, that's anybody. Well, hold on. Let me take that back. Anybody that served in those years knew about Ramadi, and whenever y'all took over the conditions, and then had to set the battle space presence and take over with the satiation of the battle space itself. Because I was with 1-7 at the time, so we were replicating what y'all were doing, but we had to also support the Battle of Fallujah, and we had to change our battle tempo. It was we all know who the main effort was, and we weren't the main effort. The main effort was Ramadi and Fallujah, because those were the insurgent strongholds at the time.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. I kind of knew which one it was because we talked yesterday.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
we talked about when you retired, so I was trying to remember that,
Damn.
and I know that's been
Yeah.
So, my two truths and a lie. Let's see here. I'm a 12th award expert rifle. I had four. I have four Article 15s in my tenure in the Marine Corps, and let's see. I had a successful tour on the depot. Which one is the lie?
The first one is a lie.
I'm gonna say the 4 Article 15s. I think you have 3.
No. Read is right. I had 4 Article 15. I dodged the 5th Article 15. I should have 5 Article 15s. So I didn't get no. What was it? What I say? 12th award expert.
12.
I think I got. I think I got to like. I didn't even get to 6. I think I got to 5. I think I got to 5. But listen, Damien. If you want to talk about a libo risk, I was the guy that you did not want in your battalion whenever y'all went to and gave those guys liberty. I'm that guy.
Oh no, it's fine, man. It's fine because you would have been the one that would have been on duty like every other day. So.
Yeah. Like, hold on, we got the OOD for the solid month. Here he is, right here.
Yeah, he's right here. He's right here. Buckle up, buddy.
Matter of fact, you just keep your pistol with you at all times because you can't drink anymore. You're banned.
Yeah. Or I would have or you would have been my libo buddy.
Oh God. Come here, Staff Sergeant. I gotta need you to go take this right here. All right, Sergeant Major. Roger that.
Hey, Staff Sergeant's my libo buddy, sir. Don't worry about it. I'll keep him out of trouble.
He's driving me everywhere. He's taking his paperwork everywhere. He's checking everything. Don't worry. It's all good. Let me go ahead and get some of these comments. We got a whole bunch of them. We got a whole bunch of them right here. Holy geez, Batman. Let's see, all the way down to Jamie. Lance says, Jamie, would that be Uncle Dad? I don't know what that was in reference. Oh, that was in reference to West Virginia. Would that be Uncle Dad? Jamie replies, let's see. It keeps moving. Holy shit, Batman. All right, so replying to Lance, Jamie High, and then Jamie High says, that would happen today considering the recruiting issues nowadays. What you were talking about, Damien, absolutely. Brian Britton says, I bet the kid tells everyone about how he almost joined the Marines, but then some BS heroic excuse. We all know that, right? I think all of us have heard that before, right?
Oh yeah.
Lance replying to Brian Britton, and he said he probably says that he has too good of everything for the Marines. Maybe. But changing the subject just for a second, have y'all seen the new Air Force barracks? Like, have y'all seen?
I've seen something like that on Instagram or TikTok.
Bro, like, it blows my mind. It's just like, that's a whole apartment complex right there, bro. Like, I'm. Anyways, I'm mind blown.
That shit is wild.
Wow. Like I'd
Mhm.
re-enlist for 20 years. You know? Well, I'd be kicked out before then. But anyways, besides that, we got Lance says WRF is awesome people. Yeah, that was
Yep.
pretty awesome by
Yep.
what was it, Brian, correct? That
Yep.
was that was pretty
Yep.
awesome. We got to get that. I got
Yep.
to get that information so we can pass it on too.
Yeah, I think they posted something on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, we can post it on the page too. So
Yeah, I think that's wonderful what they're doing.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Jamie says buy Wild Bill soda because they are tied to Warrior Reunion Foundation. Okay,
Okay. Hey, that's good information,
that's
James.
good information. Yeah. Then Theo's like, "Hey, that brawl was epic. The 3-5 guys were crazy. All right, all right." Jamie guessed on. I'm assuming it would have been on Reed's that number one was a lie. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
all know that who your sons play for. You know,
Yeah, I
Jamie
know.
ain't gonna
That's a
buy a
fact.
49er just yet. Just
Yeah.
yet. Could be very, very soon. And then
Yeah.
Lance says it was your hip that got shot. So
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the hip,
yeah,
not the ass.
I
Paul.
thought it was your ass. I thought. Listen, one
Nah,
of
it's the
my
hip. They keep making that shit up, man.
well,
You
one of
know
my
how many
Marines.
people ask me, like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you got shot in the ass." It was the hip. The hip.
yeah. I mean, uh, hey, one of my Marines, he got his nut shut off. You know what I'm saying?
What?
He got yeah, man. Like yeah, bro.
God damn.
He got his testicle shot off. He had a rubber. He had one testicle, and then they implanted like a what is it a prosthetic testicle as well. So,
What? A fake nut? Damn.
bro, like, listen, 3-5 had a hard deployment in Sangin, bro. So yeah,
Yeah.
in 2010 they had it rough. I was on the depot and I went, and then once I finished my tour and I went down there and I took over
Mm,
a platoon. Um, I don't talk negatively about Marines. I just can't.
mhm,
But the morale of that unit after the volume of casualties
mm,
and everything that had occurred, it was kind of down. It was one of the only units I had ever been to where the morale was down.
mm,
But it was because they hadn't got their boot drop yet. The guys were
mm,
the theory was to keep the operational tempo high so that their minds wouldn't be stagnant. And because a
mm.
stagnant Marine is kind of dangerous, to be honest with you,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
especially after a tough combat tour. And the Battle of Sangin was one of the most catastrophic, catastrophic times during OIF and OEF. If we
Yep.
look at all of the volume of casualties, I think it was like
Mm,
250 Purple Hearts awarded in one deployment with one
mm.
battalion. That's
Yeah, that's
that's a hard
wow.
deployment. That's a challenge. That's a
Yep.
hard deployment on those Marines.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah. And
let's see. Go
by the
ahead.
way, with the Purple Heart, yesterday was Purple Heart. I guess it was like Purple Heart Day.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It definitely
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Then we got Theo says, yeah, two troops and a lie have a weakness for top shelf BBLs. Two, I own a contracting business. Three, I don't like buxom women. Which one would it be for Theo? I
All
wonder.
them shits is true though. Like,
Uh
none of them
oh,
real lies.
none of them is lies. They all true. Um, let's see. Purple Hearts. Lance says Purple Hearts were almost like a blanketed award for 2-4. That's how rough
Yeah.
that deployment was for you guys. I
Oh
remember that.
yeah.
Um, Theo says Scott Husing tried to
Uh,
steal our battalion, our battle of Ramadi. I don't know who's
I,
Scott Husing.
I guess he came after us, so it's been controversy that he wrote a book later on, but he's tying it to the I think what our department.
2006.
Yeah.
It's titled Echo in Ramadi. I've never read it.
Mm, me
He
neither.
was the company commander of Echo Company after our 2004 deployment. So they
Oh,
went to Ramadi. They went to Ramadi in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, a bunch of the Marines that were in Echo Company in 2004 were on that deployment in 2006.
Mm,
So there
yeah.
are some ties there, but I've never read the book,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. Never read it.
Yeah.
okay. Lance says, "Hey, Jimmy King," and then Ralphine was joining
Hey,
us. I was thinking the Purple
hey.
Heart was alive, but I ain't even know what it was. Okay, so Ralphine, our other co-host, she's a
Mm-hmm.
civilian,
Mm-hmm.
and she has her business up in Sacramento, California, where she does a lot of beauty, like beauty work as far as hair
Yeah.
extensions. She has her own
Yeah.
line
And
products.
she's
So,
beautiful also.
oh
So.
yeah, absolutely. And then Ralphine says, "You laughing does not help." I think she was talking to you on that one, Reed. Um, and Theo's like, God damn, Anthony, 4 ninja punches. It should have been five, bro. It should have been five. I skated one of them, and that one was, I think it was Article, I think it was Article 90. It was, communicating threats to a commissioned officer because I told my CO I was going to break his fucking face. But they sent me to the brig instead of giving me an NJP. So
Hey,
yeah, he's still a bitch. I would tell him to his face he's still a bitch.
hey, he's coming on the show next week.
Good. I'll tell him. I'll tell him. That guy, he was, here's, I'm gonna caveat it for one of your stories there, Dane. So you had a like, you down at the depot got to keep your company commander who then later met you at 1-9. Well, I had a company commander also that met me in 3-5, and we hated each other's guts. And guess who became my company commander?
Of course.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where that came from. So
Mm.
it is what it is. It's just, it was more of a character conflict, or not a character, but a personality conflict than it was anything else. Um,
Mm.
you know, and plus I'm a little outspoken. So Jimmy's
Hey.
like, Jimmy says, howdy. Jamie says, y'all are legends to younger Marines. Tor and Reed, remember when we went to WWB for Christmas?
Yep. Wounded Warrior Foundation. Yep.
Yeah, and those
Yep.
Marines were honored to meet you. That's awesome. When
Yeah,
was
that was
this? When was this,
beautiful.
Reed?
This a few years back. We took Christmas presents to the guys over there. So along with Jamie.
How long y'all been
Yeah.
doing this?
I just only did it once with Jamie, but I would love to do it again though.
Man, that seems pretty awesome right there.
Yeah. And it was along with Vest 360, with Vest 365 too. So yeah.
That's
So shout
awesome.
out to Jamie for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man.
Theo says he's replying to Ralphine. Said the Purple Heart, here I come when he got shot. When he got shot, talking about you, Reed.
Hey
uh,
man.
Ralphine says, "Hey Jimmy," to Jimmy King, and Theo says, "Can the Marine Corps just give us the money instead of the awards?"
I wish there was some money in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some benefits that come along with
Oh
it.
yeah,
You
your
know what I'm
kids get to go
saying?
to any state school for free. And there's something with taxes, like you don't have to pay for like certain things. Oh, you can buy a house and you don't have to pay property taxes. Yeah,
That's a good one. Here in Florida,
Yeah.
if you're 100%, that you don't have to pay the property taxes either. So
okay.
yeah, if
Nice.
only if you're 100%. Host says, hi Ralphine, and hi Jimmy. Lance says, replying, joking carefully, she might break the audio. Talking about Ralphine.
Oh no.
uh, let's see. I heard the teleportation pods in the new Air Force barracks. Oh, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. Lance says, "Hey Beth King," and Beth King says, "Hey boys, can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks."
Oh,
And Beth says, "Hey Lance," and Theo then says, "If I could have a fake testicle, I'd have them made the size of a bowling ball."
Damn. I just couldn't.
Oh,
That's some painful shit, man.
Jimmy says, "I lost a leg, but was lucky my junk wasn't hit." Damn, I didn't know
Man,
Jimmy was a an amputee.
man.
I didn't know
Damn.
that, Jimmy. Well, I'm glad you're all right, and I'm glad you
Yeah,
healed your nuts,
yeah.
my man. You
Yep.
need them.
Definitely.
So let's see. Beth Din says, replying to Spoken and Joking. Hey, hun. Theo says, like, subscribe, share, support. Please do. Ladies and gentlemen,
Definitely.
Spoken and Joking. We have Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We have every single outlet you can possibly think of.
Yep.
Go ahead and subscribe and share, please. And then
Yep.
obviously a lot of this is for veterans, sponsored by 365. That's 365.com, and
Mm-hmm.
also Artias.
Yep.
Some of our great sponsors, my company sponsors AMCJ
Yep.
Fitness at gmail.com. Anybody's looking for fitness training, any type of knowledge of supplementation, so on and so forth, you can
Mm,
hire me as a coach. I'm there for you. So anything like that, we're here. We're here to support our community still today,
definitely.
even
Yep.
as veteran service members. This is what we do. Also,
Yep.
even though we're out of men's mental health month, don't
Yep.
ever think that we don't care about you. We're
We
always
do.
here for you. This is one of the
Yep.
things that we care about. This is one of the things that we do.
Yep.
Reed himself, he's a sociologist. He's getting his doctorates in sociology.
Yep. Mm,
So this is a big topic, not
yep.
for the military, not for the military, for men in general. There's a
Definitely.
statistic of 3.98 to 1, the suicide
Yep.
from men to women
Yep.
ratio. So
Yep.
we have a mental health crisis in the United States today.
Yep.
And whatever we can do to support it, to help individuals
Yep.
out, men supporting men. I'm a huge advocate of that
Yep.
because this is the community that I've been around for most of my life, most of my career. These are the
Yep.
things that I care about is our mental health. I've struggled with mental health issues coming
Yep.
back from battle and then going directly into a special duty assignment, which I had no business doing whatsoever because I
Mm,
was not cognizant of
mm.
emotional health because I grew up in the 80s and it was like, bitch, go outside and play.
Pretty much.
There's your
Yeah.
emotional
That's
health.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm sure Damien could caveat off that and could
Yep.
piggyback off that too, dealing with all of his Marines as well.
Yep.
This is just something that we talk about that on the
Yep.
show, that mental health, if you gotta pause and take a break and talk to somebody, then do it.
Do that.
Don't ever,
Yep.
ever, ever
Yeah.
think you're alone.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
we all
Absolutely, man.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We talked about it a lot, and, towards the end of my career, the Marine Corps got way better with it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was one of those things where, when we were in 2-4 Read, like if you were
Mm-hmm.
having mental health issues, you were just basically told, quit being a bitch, get back in there, right?
Hell yeah.
And
Yep.
and and I very well might have been the one saying it, but
Yeah.
you know, when I was a first sergeant and sergeant major, the Marine Corps was.
We lost you, Damien.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh.
man.
Oh yeah. No, but
Um,
yeah, definitely, man. And we want everybody, everybody that's listening to this, definitely reach out to your battle buddy or family members or anybody. It's good to talk about these things. Mental health is paramount. You need that. Without that, you can't do anything else. So
no.
make sure you definitely do that. Like, hey, and there's nothing wrong with seeing anybody neither. I think it's a lot of stigma, especially with men. Nothing wrong with that. And, when you do go see somebody, whether it's a licensed clinician or any type of therapist, everything is confidentiality. So they're bound by HIPAA. So none of your information is not going to get leaked. Nobody's not going to talk about you behind your back. So that gives you a time to say what you need to say within those four corners of the four walls, where you can express anything that you feel, and it's good. It's helpful to you. I promise it is. You know.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to go that route, reach out to your friends, reach out to family, but don't go through any episodes alone. I would say that to the audience.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm gonna even piggyback off of Reed as well and say that personally, if you are having a mental health crisis or issue, my email account has been right down here the entire time, amcjfitness@gmail.com. Hit me up, send me a phone number, we'll talk. The reason
Yeah.
why is because it's a shame that we would, that as men we find ourselves in these situations that we
Yes.
we fear the stigma of
Yes.
asking for help. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, uh that is a social failure, I should say.
Yes.
um
Agreed.
um yeah, and I just want to. I'm just huge into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's a,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why I should have been in JP for the fifth time, right? So, like,
Yeah.
that came down really to mental health and
Yeah.
substance abuse and not having
Yeah.
the right tools and
Yeah.
coping mechanisms in order to deal with the stressors
Yeah.
that I was enduring at the time. But anyways, let's go back into these let's go back to these comments because they are flying off the handle, coming in at a cyclic rate. Holy geez, Batman. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna stop here and say all right, so we have Beth again. She said she's stunning, and Jimmy King said, "Y'all seen the YouTube video? The reporter that was embedded with us, that was embedded with us, did called it
Yeah.
Echoes of War or something like that." Who's that?
Yeah. It's on. I seen that one. Yep.
Okay, all right. Ralphine says, "Thank you, Beth. So are you." Jamie says, "I have a book written about Ramadi 2004 called Joker One." I've heard of that book before.
Yep. I heard the Joker one too.
Yeah, written by Donovan Campbell. I might need to write that down. So it's written by Donovan Campbell. And then we have Jimmy King. There he is. There he is.
Yep. Hey.
He's back.
Gotcha.
He's back. He's back. Before we lost you, Damien, you were saying that the Marine Corps had gotten a lot better about the mental health strategy and helping out the Marines and stuff, right?
Yeah, man, they've gotten way better with it. I'm on the move. I'm gonna take it back inside. I think it's dropping the Wi-Fi sitting outside.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, the Marine Corps has gotten a lot better with helping Marines get mental health assistance. Sending them to the doctor, removing the stigma of saying that they're weak or whatever, and it's trickled down to the junior Marines, right, where they're more supportive of that, and not poking fun at each other and all that sort of thing. So it's definitely gotten a lot better. My last few years in the Marine Corps, and it was really helpful for the recruiters, because that job is pretty brutal. So being able to get them support when they needed it, and get them to understand that it's okay to ask for that help, and but not just recruiters, but for all the Marines. The Marine Corps just got a lot better with it, and they continue to improve with that. So that's an area that I appreciate the Marine Corps spending a lot of time and energy on to help get Marines straight.
Yeah, I did my internship at Miramar in behavioral health. You had a lot of Marines in there getting the help that was needed, and nobody wasn't like ashamed or anything. And I set in on a few sessions with an MFT, marriage and family therapist, who was a doctor, and I sat on a few on a few sessions, and hey, it was a lot of breakthrough that's going on because we don't talk about the marriage component of being in the Marines. When I wasn't married, but I could imagine the stress level that you just married somebody, then you got to deploy. That can lead to a lot of stress. So,
I didn't even think about the component of marriage, inclusive with the mental health aspect. Whenever we're talking about tours and stuff like that, especially with the hardships on the family as well. That was I even though I was married whenever I went through, there was not a component that we really talked about, I would say. In my counseling sessions, it was more of how was I handling it and how did I mitigate some of my physical factors, I would say, whenever I felt them, the additional stress that was coming on. How long was your internship?
I think it was at least 3 months. 3 months. Yep. And it was kind of good. I was eye opening. I learned so much about even when this is a taboo subject. Well, not taboo because, like I said, at the spoken and joking. So we love everybody from all walks of life. But I actually had to sit in on my first session with a gay Marine and his husband, and that was eye opening to me because by the time they got done with what they were discussing, I was like, darn, I was like, you should treat this guy better, So it was very lightness.
So I got to ask you, since you opened that door, I'm going to walk through it. So, in the aspects of relationships, do gay men have a lot of the same issues as what heterosexual couples and marriages do simultaneously?
Well, sitting on in that session with the Marine and his husband,
Hmm.
yes. By the time they got finished, I'm not gonna lie. You grow up a certain way, so you kind of apprehensive about, you know. But when I went in there, I realized they go through the same shit that we go through. Because once I finished talking to them, I was like, damn. Yeah, I was like, man, you need to treat his husband better. Like, man, why you doing that to your husband like that? It's
Yeah.
crazy that because my whole mind was, I had this notion that like, hey man, I don't want to be in here. Because we were in the Marine Corps when it was don't ask, don't tell. So by the time I got out, it was different again. So they banned that. But sitting in that, yeah, they go through the same shit heterosexual couples go through.
So Damien, what we was just discussing, he did his very first session in his internship with a gay couple of two Marines, I'm
But
assuming,
no,
or
one
whatever.
was the Marine was the Marine and his husband.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we were still talking about mental health, but he opened the door, so I walked in. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever he's talking about, that that's what he was
Yeah.
alluding to, is the same exact issues as like a
Yeah.
heterosexual couple and whatnot, because of
Yeah.
the
Same.
whole mental health aspect and component, and how you had aforementioned um, with marriage itself. It is it's
Mm,
another component we got to think about. And
mm,
I didn't,
Yep.
me personally, I made a mistake and didn't think about it. Probably the
mm.
reason why I got divorced, a huge reason why I got divorced. But it's imperative that we
Yeah.
aid our spouses and the ones that we love, and
Mm,
and let them know everything that's going on, and bring them into the fold as we're attending counseling as well.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. The thing that I was going to mention before my Wi-Fi freaked out on me and kicked me off of here was, when I came back from Iraq, I was a pretty angry person, and my wife can attest to, I was angry before Iraq. I was way more angry after.
We heard.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't go I didn't go to seek any professional help or anything, but the thing that really saved me was actually my tour on the depot. I took all my aggression out on platoons of recruits for 9 straight cycles for 3 years. So and I almost caught one of those Article 15s that you got.
One of mine was down at the
As a
depot.
result of it. Yeah. I was lucky enough to have a really good first sergeant named Sean Slattery. He was my company first sergeant, and I screwed up and I put my hands on a kid, and he had me in his office, taking my soft cover away, and gave me an ass chewing that was worthy of every ass chewing that I had missed leading up to that point. And then he told me to go back to work and told me if I did it again, he'd send me to a court martial. So I didn't do it again. Right. And I behaved myself after that, but he very well could have, and probably should have, sent me to NJP. How he convinced the company commander to not NJP me, I still do not know, but thank goodness he did, because I would not have made it to where I did if it wasn't for him.
Well, I think that's part of I think that's part of the magic of a first sergeant at the depot. I've seen this happen time and time again, where drill instructors would literally put their hands on recruits and do things that out of the norm, things that they know that they can't do. However, that split second decision could have ruined their life, but somehow, some way, a first sergeant in 8999 was able to save them and say, okay, well, nip lock him, put it on, do something, go out there. And I don't know, like I know at Paris Island, we have to go cut motherfucking grass. So we out there in a soft cover, cutting motherfucker, or in our PT shirt, cutting motherfucking grass. And everybody knows, every recruit knows, if you out there cutting motherfucking grass and they see you, that you got in trouble for some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, oh yeah, man, like it was different. That's the way it was. So I did a lot of fucking grass cutting. I was the maintenance landscaping guy of 3rd Battalion before the 3rd Battalion became a new 3rd Battalion. So
it It was good, man, because Sean Slattery, man, that guy. I walk
I know
into
that
his
name. I know.
I'm sure you do. He ended up. I think he retired as the battalion sergeant major, 2nd Recruit Training Battalion, in like 2012 or something like that. But he called me into his office, and I remember the chief drill instructor grabs me right before I go in the first sergeant's office. He's like, "Whatever you do, do not lie to the first sergeant. Like whatever he asks you, be honest. Because if you lie to him, you're fucked." And I'm like, "Okay, got it." So I report into the first sergeant's office, and his desk was clean. The photos of his family that's normally on his desk is on the bookshelf behind him, and all he has is the manual for court martial and the recruit training SOP. Those are the only 2 things on his desk. And I walk in, and he's like, I'm standing at attention. He's like, "Staff Sergeant, how many times are you authorized to touch a recruit?" So I start listing them. And he's like, "Is shoving your knife hand into their neck to shove them out the door one of them, you motherfucker?" And then he just like goes off the chain. And I'm like, "No, First Sergeant." And he just starts yelling at me, screaming, throws the recruit training SOP at me. It dodges my head. I dodge it. It goes behind me, blows up on the door all over behind me. And then he sits back down and he opens the manual for court martial. And he's like, "Staff Sergeant, what is Article 128 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice?"
Oh, wow.
I said, that's assault, First Sergeant.
Assault.
He's like, "That's right." And he starts reading me the maximum punishment if convicted at a general court martial of assault. And then he throws the manual for a court martial at me. So it's flying past my head. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's assault, but I'll keep that to myself. Right. and then he yells at me some more. And then he looks at me, and my youngest son had just been born. He's like, I don't know, 5 months old maybe. And he looks at me and he goes, "If you do any shit like this again, I will have Julie and Taylor and little baby Zach on the couch at your fucking NJP, you motherfucker." Yep. Yes, First Sergeant. And he's like, "Take your campaign cover, go back to work." Like, yes, yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Wow.
I should have been NJP'd, but thankfully I just caught that.
Actually,
and
that would have been one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. The even funnier part about that is I leave. I'm walking out of his office, and there's a sergeant recruiter sitting on the bench outside the first sergeant's office waiting to see him. And he looks at me and he's like, "Staff Sergeant, was that ass chewing for you?" I was like, "It sure was, bud. Good luck." And I walked away.
I think that should have been one of your good stories you started out with. We should have started with earlier.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, man. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good story.
So did you mean to do it? Did you mean?
Oh yeah, I was completely on purpose. Oh yeah, 100%. It was 100% on purpose. It was one of those. It was one of those. 5:10 hatch times. 05 early. You got to be in front of the chow hall at 5:10. This kid needed his medication. So I'm like, "Take your meds, go stand over there so you can go to medical after chow." And he starts asking questions. I'm like, "I don't have fucking time for this shit. Go stand over there." And he's like, "You're a district recruit." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." And like, he just wouldn't stop. To this day, I don't know what he was trying to ask for, but I took my hand and I shoved it right up underneath here and I shoved him out the damn hatch. So then my senior drill instructor calls me. This is at like 5 a.m. My senior drill instructor calls me at like 8. And he's like, "Hey, man, where's recruit so-and-so?" And I'm like, "Medical?" He's like, "Yeah. Why is he at medical?" I'm like, "Upper respiratory infection or some shit? I don't know." He's like, "So why is he in the mental health unit telling the psychiatrist he'd rather kill himself than come back to this platoon?"
God damn.
I'm like, I might know why. And he's like, "Yeah, go see the first sergeant." And I'm like, "Shit."
Oh shit. Yeah, damn.
Oh, wow.
That's why I scared the shit out of him, man. I was like, shit.
Man, Yeah, no, not again. That just brought back some memory. Like y'all don't understand. Like your
Yeah.
whole career flashes before in front of your eyes, and you're
Oh
just
yeah.
like, you're thinking to yourself like, everything that I've done for the military, the Marine Corps, my Marines, I'm about to piss it away because of recruit such and such, and
Yep.
I did it. That's the issue. It's just like I did it, and
I
there's
did it.
nothing I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
do.
Like
I
nothing I
can't
can do about it.
lie.
I did it. Yep. Yep.
You know,
And
and
you
that's
know,
the,
it
and
all
that,
comes full circle, man, because when I was a first sergeant of India Company, 3rd Recruit Training Battalion, one of my old recruits was one of my drill instructors. And we're up at Edson Range at Weapons Field Training Battalion, and the senior drill instructor for this guy's platoon, he comes up to me, he's like, "First sergeant," and I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "I can't believe you." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Let me tell you what my drill instructor did." So he starts telling about how the drill instructor destroyed the house, took the ammo cans that were holding the hatch open, poured the dirt all over the squad bay, kicked a water can over, like took the guide on, drug it through the mud that he created in the middle of the squad bay, and like it was off the chain. And I was like, "That's crazy. What'd you do?" And he's like, "Well, first thing I did was say, where the hell did you learn that? Because we don't do that shit here." And he's like, "Well, first sergeant did it to me." Like, oh,
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And you were a green belt
Yep.
drill instructor, 3rd hat at the time that you did it too. Because you said,
Yep.
guess what, motherfuckers? Y'all shit on the senior drill instructor, and this is exactly what he's gonna get. And you did it like
Yep.
that. You destroyed their
That's
morale
right.
totally.
Yep.
Oh, I know.
Yep.
I know the game. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. It's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Yeah. No, it's
Man.
That's a great story. There
Yeah.
were some good times down there, but I got to be honest with you. You know,
Yeah.
dealing with it, hindsight being 2020, I don't. Just like being a recruiter, I got to be honest with you. After hearing what you said, there's a tremendous amount of stress. So,
Oh yeah.
oh wow, you know, I don't know.
Gotcha.
I
Do we
mean,
got any?
yeah,
Do we
I'm
got
getting ready
any
to say that. I was
comments?
just getting ready to say that. We got a ton of
Oh,
comments we
got
got to
you.
catch up on. We got Jimmy King T says 2-4 Echo hit Ramadi 5:29:04 2K from the arches, and then Ralphine said replying that shouldn't be a problem. Ralphine says, "Hey Shaw," and then Bush or I'm sorry, Beth. She said was replying back to Ralphine, and then Ralphine replied Shay Moore. And Shay Moore said, "Hey, beautiful." Jimmy King said, "I've got one leg, one my, one my. I don't know what that means, and zero fucks to give."
Hey, I
That's what I'm
like to
talking
hear
about.
that.
And then Beth says, "Yes, breaking the stigma of mental health and addiction. Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely, Beth.
Yep.
That's 100% accurate."
Yep.
Arlene says, "Thank you. Your topic is very interesting." Jimmy King said, "One leg, one nut, zero fucks to give." Damn typo.
Damn. Hey.
Well, hey, it is what it is, right?
Hey.
Work with what you
Damn.
got, man. Work with what you got.
Hey.
Lance said, "I told you, Ralphine." Ralphine is here now, so Lance and Ralphine have a little romance going on right now. Smoking and joking,
Hey.
smoking and joking. It says, "Hey, Arlene, at Arlene, thanks for supporting us from the Philippines." Ralphine says, "Lance McCowney, wishful thinking usually happens." Oh, is that right? Okay, is that right? Okay, I'm not jealous over here at all. I'm not jealous over here at all. Beth says, "IGY6 is a real thing." What is IGY6? I
I
don't
got
know.
your 6.
I got you. Oh yeah, no shit,
Yeah.
right? Hey, listen. Hey, I'm a little slow too. So then Jamie says, if the VA tells you it will be more than 30 days for a mental health appointment, say you want a community care provider.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then
That's good
also,
advice, Jamie.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Also, vet centers are doing intakes immediately
Yep.
too. So
Yep.
any vet center, if your VA can't provide immediately and you can't get a
Yep.
provider, an outsourced provider, go to a vet center that's closest, and they are required to take you. And we got Smoking and Joking says, Beth King, would you like to tell us about what that is? And then let's see here. Lance says, my phone is always on anytime anyone needs or wants to talk. Thanks, man. We
Hey,
appreciate that a
yep,
lot, Lance.
yep,
Thank you very,
yep,
very much, brother.
yep.
Theo says, it should have been illegal for us to get married when we got back from Iraq.
I agree. I agree.
Is that a Tijuana reference story by any chance? I'm just saying,
Yep,
just throwing it out there.
yep, yep.
uh, Theo says, Reed told the gay Marines that they needed to treat men better than feed females.
Negative, negative,
Is that right? Is that right,
negative,
bro? Is that right?
negative.
Uh,
Yeah.
Lance says, I married my second wife 2 weeks before going to Iraq in 2004. That one didn't last either. I, you, your staff and CO should talk to you
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit more about
Oh
that.
no,
I'm just
the
yeah.
staff SEO probably did. He probably just didn't listen.
probably. Yeah, we know how junior Marines are too. Sometimes it's just like, nah, man, I'm gonna get that BAH money while I'm deployed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what the deal is. I stayed down there for a while. Theo says, I bet the Marine's husband thought that he wore his husband's rank. Very possibly. Jamie says, the rarely seen male dependa. Yeah. We're talking about with you, Reed. And then Lance says, Theo, only if said Marine was a high rank. Maybe, maybe. Theo says the problem with divorce is that it takes more hate to break y'all apart than the love it took to bring y'all together, and that's a lot of hate. Yeah,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, that's a pretty good assessment, man. It
Yep.
is. Theo says, replying to Lance, aren't you going to salute me? My husband's a captain.
Hey
Goddamn
man, it's
dependents.
crazy. You go there, it's different now. So you got to be with everybody now. So it's not the same Marine Corps no more, man.
Yeah, so the master sergeant that I was dating not too long ago, she told me straight up, she's like, you wouldn't fucking make it today. I'm like, I didn't fucking
Yeah.
make it back then.
Yeah.
So I know I wouldn't make
Yeah.
it today.
No,
Nice.
I seen people come in there. I seen Marines come in there for like the littlest thing about people yelling at them or like little stuff. So but mental health is different for everybody. So
Yeah, no, I totally
yeah.
understand. Beth King said Jimmy King went to war to get away from his first wife. Jimmy King replied, I went to war to get away from my wife at the time. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny, man.
Yeah.
Lance said, sounds legit. Then Theo says, my DI stuck a sword in a recruit's neck because he missed a hair on a shave.
Damn.
Oh God. Then we got Lance. Lance says, but you left right before I got there. Theo comes back and says, for real, when was I married? I was hoping I get the call to go back to combat. And then Lance replied to Beth King, at least you could vent some of that build up anger while getting paid for it. Oh, that was very true. Then
Yeah.
Lance says also, I was CRC. We didn't have an official staff NCO. Oh, really? I didn't know anything about that. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. So I guess shit. I guess we're gonna wrap it up here.
Hell.
Thanks to Vets 365. We really appreciate you. Artias, we appreciate you also. Again, hey Damien, we really, really appreciate you coming on the show and giving us some insight, giving us your time, letting us know how
Thank you.
everything is and talking about the program that helped you out, getting your degree. And actually, I didn't even know about that program until you talked about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Onward to
pretty amazing.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Onward to opportunity for anybody out there that's getting ready to get out or has gotten out within the last 6 months. Onward to opportunity provides all kinds of training, and they'll pay for testing for professional certifications. So I got my professional and human resources certification through them. I know a bunch of folks that have used it for program management, project management, like all those, a lot of places in the civilian world, they're getting more concerned about some of those professional certifications and that you're focused in certain areas and not just as concerned on a degree. Right. So depending on the job and company, of course, but those degrees are very helpful. And if you can get them for free, I mean, some of those test costs, I mean, that test that
it would have cost me over $400, $500 if I would have paid for it. They just paid for it. They covered it. So yeah, it's a great program. Onward to Opportunity. If anybody hasn't used it, leverage it.
Now, is that going to be for senior enlisted individuals, or is for everybody?
It's for everybody. You just got to use it within 6 months of your EAS.
Okay, and where can they get this information, through the VA, or is it while they're on active duty?
Well, they can get it. They can get it through the VA if they've recently gotten out within that 6 month time frame. But if they're still in the uniform and they're getting ready to get out, Google Onward to Opportunity or O2O, and it is provided through Syracuse University. That's who they team up with. So yeah, O2O or Onward to Opportunity.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think this is important to pass on.
Yep.
Yeah, we can definitely put that. We can definitely put on that Smoking and Joking page on some
of
the.
Definitely. Yeah, because we got
make a folder.
We got active duty still on there too. So.
Yeah, we definitely do. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up. My name is Anthony Charpentier, AMCJ Fitness. I'm one of the co-hosts for this evening. And then also, if anybody has any fitness endeavors for my business, if you need any type of supplementation, dieting, or training regimen programs, I do those specifically towards your goals and needs. You can go ahead and email me, amcjfitness@gmail.com. I'll shoot you an intake form, and that's going to be pretty much it. Reed, go ahead.
All right. So, man, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Damien, for being here. It's good to see you, brother. I want to say, we do Smoke and Joke.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a blast. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I would definitely want to please govern yourself accordingly when it comes to your mental health. That's what I want to say to everybody. We do a lot of smoking and joking on this show, but mental health is paramount. Your mental health is paramount, and we want to see you guys back Sunday and next week. So like we were saying on the show, make sure you reach out to your brother, family members, or anybody. If you want to call us, the Smoking and Joking web page, or anything you want, any way you can find us, you can find us, because we care about you, and be kind to one another. All right, love you guys.